Welcome to Perimenopause Hell. This video explains why you don't need any tests to tell you that you're in perimenopause. It's one of the commonest questions that we get in our group. What tests do I need? But actually you don't need any tests at all if you're in the average age range for perimenopause. So if you're 40 plus, you're on your way to menopause. The average age for total menopause when you don't have any periods anymore is 51. So if you're over 40, you're almost certainly on your way. And if you go to your doctor should treat your symptoms in some way. So it's no use if you get the blood test back and it says you're not in perimenopause, your doctor should still be treating your symptoms anyway, because tests are really, really unreliable. Mainly because your hormones are fluctuating so much. So if you have a blood test on one day, it might tell a completely different story 2 days later. I'd like everybody to read this wonderful article by the North American Menopause Society, who I'll call NAMS after this because it's easier, it's less of a mouthful. They say that saliva testing is not recommended, and I'd agree with that. Saliva testing is something that is offered by a lot of naturopaths and functional doctors, but not really medical doctors. Medical doctors tend to recommend something called a follicle stimulating hormone test. So we'll go and take a look at what an FSH test is. Now, FSH is follicle stimulating hormone, and that is a hormone that tells your ovary to release an egg. So in a young woman who is cycling regularly, the FSH says, "Excuse me, ovary, can you release an egg, please?" And the ovary goes, "Sure." And the egg pops out and everything ticks along regularly. Now, in a woman more our age who's in perimenopause, this process starts getting a bit lazy. So the FSH says to the ovary, "Hi, ovary, can you release an egg, please?" And the ovary goes, "Nah, I can't be bothered." So the FSH says, "Ovary, can you get a move on, please? Can you release that egg?" And it gets louder. So when we look at the blood test, the FSH level is higher. And that's what the doctor's looking at to base his idea of whether or not you are menopausal yet. But the trouble is, for women in perimenopause, that this level isn't very reliable because your ovulation may be sporadic, which means to say that that FSH level can go up and up and up, and it might get to 30 or 40, but it's going, "Ovary, release an egg, please. Come on, get on with it. Wakey, wakey." And your ovary goes, "Oh, okay then, if you insist." And the FSH falls right down to normal levels. So, for sort of maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, you can go on ovulating like 3 or 4 times a year, and your FSH will be elevated, but you are still not in proper menopause because you'll still be having periods sometimes. So actually, it's really not a very reliable test. And sometimes doctors will tell women if their FSH is like 30 or 40, that they are done and they're in menopause now, but they get confused because they're still having periods now and again. What your doctor really means is that you're a suitable candidate for HRT now because you are not ovulating enough, that your body is making a lot of estrogen, which will interfere with the HRT. There's a problem with HRT where if your body's still making a lot of estrogen and then you add the estrogen from the HRT to it, you've got like way too much estrogen going on, and that will cause breakthrough bleeding problems and so on. So back to understanding follicle stimulating hormone. It gets to the point when you're in full menopause and you are not ovulating anymore, that the FSH level gets to 100 and over that. Now that is a properly postmenopausal level of FSH. but as I've explained, most doctors will regard 30 or 40 as being done, but we know that it's not really done at all. You may still experience periods if that is your level. So I hope that helps you to understand follicle stimulating hormone tests in perimenopause, why they're not really very useful, and you should save your money. So hopefully you're going to like the video and click that subscribe button. Thank you.